We already have some practical level of preparation of your forces to leave this area.
In the same way that I think you have some idea of what my reply will be.
Mislim da vi imate otprilike ideju kakav će moj odgovor biti.
It is that we have, of course, have contingency plans for withdrawal.
Naravno da mi imamo planove za povlačenje.
I would say that we also have contingency plans for the implementation of a wider peace.
Isto tako imamo i planove za primjenjivanje mira u širem smislu riječi, znači mira na šire područje.
And I would say that of the two options, the one that I would prefer to go for is the implementation of the wider peace.
I od te dvije opcije ja moram reći da bih ja pristao na ovu drugu, znači za mir u širem području.
As to your question as to the advisability of withdrawal, that, as you will have correctly said, is a political decision which we made back in the United Nations, and then also within my government at home.
A što se tiče vašeg pitanja, početka vašeg pitanja, koliko je preporučivo povući, mislim da je to nešto što će se, odluka koja će se donijeti na višem nivou, znači u Ujedinjenim narodima, na koju ja ni niko drugi ne može utjecati.
However, my view is that we have achieved a great deal here, and we have taken the first steps towards putting the country back together again and giving the people here a decent life.
Moje mišljenje je međutim da smo mi do sad dosta postigli i da smo napravili prave korake u cilju vraćanja normalnog života i pristojnog života ljudima.
There can only be one outcome of lifting the arms embargo, and that is further loss of life, greater destruction, and a greater reduction in the well-being of citizens of all the factions throughout the country.
Postoji samo jedan rezultat ukidanja tog embarga, a to je još veći gubitak ljudskih života, još veća uništavanja i isto tako lošiji život ljudima koji žive ovdje.
The way that we have at the moment is slow and it's frustrating, but in my view, it is the only way.
Način na koji mi sada radimo je jako spor i na neki način frustrirajući, ali po mom mišljenju to je jedini način.
Redoslijed. Prvo ide Anto Marinč, časnik 111, XP Žepče, gospodin 110. Usora i ponovo radi Usor Peče.
Jo, 111 XP Žepče. And then the rest she said if they decide to withdraw with forces, who will take the advantage of that? Who will take the benefit of it?
I don't think there'll be any benefit for anybody.
Mislim da neće biti korist ni za koga.
I think what we'll see is an intensification of the conflict, and I think it will be to the detriment of all parties. To the detriment of all parties. In that there will be a higher intensity conflict involving all three sides, which will benefit nobody.
Samo ćemo imati povećani konflikt koji će na neki način uključiti sve tri strane, tako da neće niko od tog imati korist. Povlačenja koga? Why do they then announce the possibility of withdrawal of British forces?
Because if the arms embargo is lifted, I think that the intensity of the conflict would rise, and within that higher intensity of conflict, there would be an unacceptable risk from my country's point of view to the soldiers who are here engaged in attempting to make peace work.
Zato što će se tada povećati intenzitet konflikta i po mom mišljenju u takvom intenzivnom konfliktu bit će jako rizično za moje vojnike koji su ovdje da i dalje budu tu. Thank you.
Zdravko Varić, Usora.
Zdravko Barusić from Usora. I'm for units in Usora under your part of three facts? I have one question with 3 sub-questions.
Then go on.
3 facts in particular has had 10 incidents, situations with Muslim police, which was 3 times with pulling triggers on weapons. And in particular on Sunday was the last case when unprofitable members were blocked in the village of Žabljak. Why do you keep quiet about that?
To answer that question, I don't. Keep quiet.
Samo da odgovorim na to pitanje, ja ne šutim.
I have raised that difficulty with Mr. Muratovic, the Federation Minister responsible for cooperation with the United Nations.
Ja sam to pitanje, taj problem iznio gospodinu Muratoviću koji je ministar Federacije za odnose sa Ujedinjenim narodima, za saradnju sa Ujedinjenim narodima.
It has been raised with him by Brigadier Ridgway, the commander of Sector Southwest, and we have expressed our view that the cooperation between particularly the civil police in Tishan and the UN in that area is unsatisfactory.
Taj problem je njemu iznesen od strane brigadira Ridgwaya iz sektora Jugozapad i mi smo rekli da odnosi naročito sa policijom u tom području nisu nimalo zadovoljavajući.
We have encouraged the federal government to review the attitudes towards the United Nations and the Federation of the authorities in that particular area, because we do not believe they are in the interests of the Federation at this time. We have encouraged the federal government to review the attitudes of the civil police in that particular area, because we do not believe at the moment they are in the interests of the Federation.
Mi smo zahtjevili od federalne vlade da ponovo preispitaju kakvi su odnosi civilne policije u tom području, kakvi su njihovi stavovi, jer smatramo da nisu uopšte u interesu Federacije.
The majority of the people in that area are extremely pleased to see the UN and extremely cooperative. However, we do have difficulty with a few isolated individuals.
Jer ljudi u tom području su jako zadovoljni situacijom i jako su kooperativni, međutim mi imamo problema sa nekoliko pojedinaca.
To go back to the original point, I can assure you we are not keeping quiet about it.
I da se vratim na vaše originalno pitanje, mogu vas uvjeriti da mi ne šutimo o tome.
Drugo potpitanje.
Chronologically speaking, the following interesting incidents between unprofitable and police started in Muslim places, now they move to mixed places, and they are likely to be moved to the cross areas. Je to pitanje, da li je moguće? Is it possible that they will happen in the cross areas as well? Cross areas.
I can't really answer that question. I can only tell you that as far as we're concerned, we wouldn't wish to see incidents in anybody's areas, and we will do all we can to defuse and de-escalate the situation.
Ja ne mogu baš odgovoriti na to pitanje, mogu samo reći da mi ne želimo da vidimo incidente da se dešavaju nigdje i učinit ćemo sve što možemo da se tenzije što više smanji.
I would say that I think my soldiers have acted with considerable restraint against considerable provocation.
I moram reći da su moji vojnici reagirali prilično hladnokrvno, odnosno nisu reagirali oštro na takve provokacije. The third sub-question is that we have the information that there was a request from the Muslim side to withdraw from that area. How far has that request reached? Because you were accused of being spies, and it was published in all their local newspapers.
Well, it's true. There were accusations of us being spies in the local newspapers. It's also true they're so completely ridiculous that we didn't take them seriously.
Da, istina je da je u lokalnim novinama objavljeno da smo mi špijuni, ali mi smo smatrali da je to tako smiješno da to nismo uopće prihvatili za ozbiljno.
And as for withdrawing from the local area, we have no plans to withdraw from the local area at this time.
A što se tiče povlačenja iz tog područja, mi nemamo nikakvih planova da se povučemo trenutno.
Quite the contrary, we're at this moment making plans to ensure that we're able to maintain our presence in the area throughout the winter.
Naprotiv, mi sada osiguravamo naš ostanak u tom području preko zime.
And if I can just correct you on one final thing, and that is that that particular company, although it is of my battalion, is actually under command of Brit Cavbat, who are based in Zepci.
Samo da vas ispravim, ta četa koja je odgovorna za to područje nije iz mog bataljona, ona je iz drugog bataljona britanske konjice koji su smješteni u Zepču.
However, up until recently I had command of that area, so I am familiar with the circumstances.
Mada sam ja donedavno bio zapovjednik i tog područja, tako da znam kakva je situacija tamo.
Hvala lijepo, radio. Idemo prvo redosne, radio Vitez, pa radio Srednjak.
Radio Vitez.
Stavovi naših pučanstva, da kažem, ima jedna široka lepeza stavova, ali ja bih gospodina brigadira Filipovića zamolio da vam kaže ovako neki zvanični stav ovog područja o aktivnostima britanskog bataljona. Koliko su zadovoljni sa njim? A stav ja, koliko je jedna široka lepeza o nekog vojstva da kažem.
Because I know that some people are probably not pleased and some are very satisfied. So it's large and different lines.
Ja bih pitanje iskoristio da malo šire objasnim. U zbornom području Vitez snage UNPROFOR-a nisu jednako dolazile. Jedan od prvih dolazaka je bilo britanskog bataljona ovdje u Bilu, a kasnije su došli u Žepče ili Usor ili Vareš, tako da iskustva imamo različiti od različitih postrojbi. No, pošto je pitanje bilo konkretno za Brit bataljon, ja ću reći ne zato što je gospodin McCall ovdje, nego zato što je to moje uvjerenje. Prvo, visoka profesionalnost postrojbe kao takve u ove 2 godine trajanja, velika borbena spremnost u uvjetima kad se to tražilo i kod vojske srpske i u sukobima koje su bile između armije i HVO-a. Ono što bi im ja zamjerio, to je najveća neutralnost. Dakle, nismo imali koristi od njihovog boravka ovdje, ali valjda to tako treba. Nadam se da će i ostale postrojbe u tom svojstvu biti na svim prostorima na kojima se nalaze.
Radio Seljak.
Brše?
Once again, you're asking me a question about, I think it is Cambat's area.
Opet me pitate pitanje koje nije u mojoj zoni odgovornosti, mislim da je to kanadski bataljon, njihovo područje.
Right. I'm only aware of range shooting practices being conducted by Cambat, and I am assured that the shooting practices that they have been undertaking have been cleared with the local military authorities and with the local civilian authorities.
Ja znam samo da su pripadnici kanadskog bataljona vršili ta gađanja na strelištu i da su zato dobili dozvolu od lokalnih vojnih vlasti u tom području.
I'm sure that they are doing everything they can to ensure that they're safe, and I see no reason for the local population to be concerned, as it is only UNPROFOR testing the weapons.
Ja sam siguran da oni preduzimaju sve mjere da to bude što više sigurno i da to neće naškoditi na bilo koji način lokalnom stanovništvu.
The military men here will understand we have been here for 2 years, and some of those weapons will not have been fired for 2 years, and that is not an acceptable condition for weapons to be maintained in.
I da je to samo na neki način održavanje oružja koje on ima. I ovdje vojni predstavnik vam može potvrditi da oružje koje se ne koristi 2 godine kasnije možda nije za upotrebu, tako da se mora s vremena na vrijeme koristiti kako bi se održalo u formu.
So there is a requirement to test fire the weapons, and we try and do it, having cleared it with the local population and the military authorities to ensure that everybody understands that there's no reason to be alarmed.
Tako da postoji potreba da se radi to testiranje oružja s vremena na vrijeme, a mi to radimo uvijek u saradnji sa lokalnim vojnim i civilnim vlastima, da osiguramo da ne bi bilo nikakvih problema.
Hvala lijepo. Imamo nekih informacija da britanski bataljon radi na obnovi izbjegličkog kampa za muslimane u Hambilu. Možete li nešto više reći o tome?
Refugee camp for refugees in Hambila. Can you say something?
We are providing some limited assistance with the refugee camps in Hambila, in particular with trying to clean up the camp and provide some ablutions. Do you understand ablutions? Toilets and showers.
Mogu samo reći da mi pomažemo u nekim vidovima tom izbjegličkom kampu u Hanbiloj, na taj način što pomažemo u čišćenju i isto tako u nabavci neophodnih sanitarija.
That construction is in the process of getting underway at the moment because we understand that there is the possibility of a large number of refugees coming into the area in the near future.
I taj proces je trenutno u toku, znači obnavljanja tog kampa, pošto očekujemo da u jako bliskoj budućnosti dođe veliki broj izbjeglica u to područje.
Hvala lijepo. Velečasni Ivan Ravlić, župnik iz župe Potkraj, koju su Srbi okupirali još u jesen 92.
Potkraj was taken by the Serbs 2 years ago. I'm glad you can because I need to talk to them and tell them about my case. It's been 2 years that I can't go to Potkraj. They keep promising that I will go there to see how I feel for the situation, but it hasn't been realized until now. It hasn't been before. I addressed to psychiatry and other institutions, but all I got from them was promises and nothing else.
Where is it? In Serbia.
And people are asking what I'm doing, and they can't enable me to go to Potkraj just to see what it's like. And I'm 10 kilometers away from my children. I can't go there as if I'm on a different continent.
It is not the business of UNPROFOR, however unreasonable the condition, your personal conditions is. It is not the position of UNPROFOR to be able to force a solution on any party.
To nije posao UNPROFOR-a da silom nameće rješenje bilo kojoj strani, bez obzira na to kakva situacija i kakva vaša lična osjećanja bila po tom pitanju.
We cannot force either any side to accept the passage of either people or vehicles.
Jer mi ne možemo natjerati nijednu stranu da prihvati prolazak ili ljudi ili vozila kroz njihovo područje.
I regret all we can do is facilitate the request, pass the request, and then it is very much up to the local authorities.
Ja se bojim da sve što možemo mi uraditi jeste da prihvatimo taj vaš zahtjev, da ga proslijedimo lokalnim vlastima i na njima je da odluče.
We're here to encourage the climate for peace. We're not here to enforce a solution.
Mi smo ovdje da obezbijedimo klimu za mir, ali nismo tu da silom nametnemo rješenje.
If you are not being allowed access, there is very little we can do about that apart from process the request. We're not in the position of forcing access for either yourself or for others.
Ako vama nije dozvoljen ulazak u to područje, sve što možemo uraditi jeste da prenesemo taj vaš zahtjev, ali mi ne možemo silom natjerati nekoga da vam dozvoli da uđete. Thank you for that.
Zvonko Čilić, Dobšni Slobodne Dalmacije.
Zvonko Čilić, Slobodne Dalmacije.
Postupovnika Mekola, da kaže, kako je vaša postrojba u Bosni, jesu li zabilježeni nedozvoljene radnje vaših vojnika u smislu preprodaje oružja ili neki drugi artikala, a ovo što nije dozvoljeno?
regarding telling
I
what
drugo
to
pitanje
capture, which is
pitanje
allowed for your soldiers to come. Yes. And the second question.
Šta vi mislite, ako hoćete uopće da kažete, hoće li doći do promjene mandata UNPROFOR-a u
What do
Hrvatskoj?
you think, if you want to say that, will the mandate of UNPROFOR in Croatia be changed?
To answer the first question, I am not aware of any of my soldiers having sold goods to any members of the population, and if you're aware of any, I'll be very pleased to know about them.
Da odgovorim na prvo pitanje, ja ne znam da je bilo ko od mojih vojnika prodavao stvari lokalnom stanovništvu, a ako vi znate, ja bih volio da mi to kažete.
Okay.
Ne.
Good. We view that kind of interface of the local population very, very seriously. It is essential that we have a good relationship with the people in the Vitez area and indeed in the Travnik area, and therefore the discipline of my soldiers is something about which I feel very strongly.
Mi kontrolišemo svoje vojnike u odnosima sa lokalnim stanovništvom, jer je jako važno imati dobre odnose sa lokalnim stanovništvom i u području Viteza i u području Travnika, tako da se trudimo da naši vojnici budu svi disciplinovani kad se tiče takvog jednog odnosa.
And I hope as you go around the area, you will find my soldiers professional and well disciplined.
I siguran sam da ako se budete vozili kroz ovo područje, vidjet ćete da su moji vojnici i disciplinovani i profesionalni.
And if there are any difficulties, if Brigadier Felicia his staff are told about them, I'm sure Mr. Nikitsa will let us know very quickly.
I ako ima nekih problema i ako neko iz brigadirovog štaba čuje za nešto tako, siguran sam da će nas gospodin Nikica obavijestiti o tome.
Okay. That's the first. Second question, with reference to the mandate of UNPROFOR in Croatia. I'm afraid I'm not in position to comment on that.
A što se tiče UNPROFOR-ovog mandata u Hrvatskoj, mislim da nemam ovlaštenja da komentarišem to. I was just asking for your opinion.
Okay. My opinion is that for us to operate here and operate effectively, we must maintain a mandate in Croatia which allows us to operate effectively. Otherwise it would be very, very difficult for us to operate here at all.
Moje lično mišljenje je da ako mi želimo da ovdje radimo efektno i znači da radimo svoje operacije efektivno, onda moramo osigurati to da mandat koji UNPROFOR ima u Hrvatskoj nam to dozvoli. Hvala.
Ponovim se Šarić.
Pete Šarić. According to your opinion, there will be no embargo between.
I didn't say that.
Nisam rekao da nema.
I didn't say that.
What is the unit that will replace it? I said that. Which unit is going to...
He said that.
Yeah. Which unit is going to replace you then?
The unit that will replace us will be the 1st Battalion of the Royal Highland Fusiliers.
Prvi bataljon kraljevskih. Say that again, sorry.
Royal Highland Fusiliers. Royal Highland.
Highland Fusiliers.
Royal Highland Fusiliers. They are Scotsmen.
I oni su
Scottish.
škotske.
And they have bagpipes.
Tako da imaju gajbe. Not the kilts.
No, they're not. Yes, they do have kilts, but they won't be wearing them when they come here.
Imaju ih, ali ih neće nam ovdje. Because of the wind here.
But the interpreters will have a great deal of problems.
Tako da će prevodioci imali bi puno problema.
Because they all have a very broad Scottish accent. Not the officers, but the soldiers.
Imat će puno problema zbog njihovog akcenta koji je drugačiji od britanskog, engleskog. I noticed that to my colleague Vitez, he said that it wasn't task, precious authority one for the other.
I didn't say that.
Ne, nisam to rekao.
No. What I said was we cannot force them. What we can do is try and persuade and try and encourage, but we are not in the... Could you translate that? But we cannot force.
Ja sam samo rekao da ih ne možemo natjerati, mi možemo pokušavati da ih nagovaramo i da ih ohrabrujemo da to urade, ali ih ne možemo silom natjerati.
Yeah.
That's what I said. Not to put pressure on them. We have pressure.
čuo sam dosta toga dobro, pitan to, postavljeno pitanje hvatanje.
I heard many things about this particular research and both from general predisposal.
Mislite li da imate još prostora da pomoći ili da nagovarate
more space left to persuade, not to say pressure both sides to move at least a few steps forward.
I would first of all say that the progress that has been made so far has been made because Brigadier Filipovic and General Aligic have decided to move in that direction. All we have done is provide the security and neutrality to enable them to go forward.
Kao prvo moram reći da napredak koji je do sad postignut je zahvaljujući tome što su brigadir Filipović i general Alagić odlučili da krenu u tom pravcu, a mi smo bili tu samo da osiguramo zaštitu da bi se to moglo ostvariti.
And I'm glad that our presence has enabled that process to take place. However, to answer your question, yes, there are considerable areas where we can go forward within the overall goal of cooperation for the Federation.
I drago mi je da je naše prisustvo to i omogućilo. A što se tiče vašeg pitanja, da, mogu reći da postoje još mnoga područja u kojima bi se moglo ići naprijed prema našem krajnjem cilju.
Freedom of movement. At the moment, it has improved, but it is nowhere near good enough to support an economy.
Jedno od tih je i sloboda kretanja, koja je već donekle postignut je neki napredak, ali nije ni dovoljan da bi se mogla podržati ekonomija, odnosno privreda.
Cooperation between workforces to ensure that workforces are properly mixed.
Zatim drugo područje je saradnja između radnih grupa da bi se osiguralo da radne grupe budu miješane kako je po propisu.
The reconstruction of essential services to make sure that people have electricity and water 24 hours a day and not on a ration basis.
Zatim rekonstrukcija osnovnih infrastrukturnih djelatnosti, struje i vode kako bi ljudi mogli imati struju i vodu po cijeli dan kako i normalno.
Security, to get away from having limited OPs to moving towards joint patrolling.
Zatim na područje sigurnosti kako bi se pokrenuli sa osmatračnica koje sad imamo na zajedničke patrole.
We already do it to a degree, but we could do it a great deal more.
I to smo već donekle uradili, ali možemo to još bolje.
And finally, and perhaps the most fundamental of all questions, the question of the movement and return of displaced people to their homes.
I na kraju, mislim, najvažnije pitanje, povratak raseljenih lica njihovim domovima.
Now, not all of those things will not happen overnight, as you know better than I do, but I do believe that there is still scope for us to develop and improve the Federation step by step.
I vi znate bolje od mene da treba još puno raditi na tom, da treba vremena da se sve to odradi, ali mislim da imamo još dovoljno prostora da bismo mogli to odraditi korak po korak.
Hvala lijepo. Rekli ste da očekujete dolazak novih izbjeglica u izbjeglički kamp Hambil. Možete nam reći o kojem broju se radi, odakle izbjeglice dolazi, je li riječ o definitivnom etničkom čišćenju krajine?
Are we talking about ethnic cleansing in Ukraine?
I'm not exactly sure where they're coming from, except from they're coming from the BSA-held territories.
Nisam siguran odakle dolaze, samo znam da dolaze sa teritorije koju drži srpska vojska.
The exact numbers and where they're coming from and going to, I'm not fully aware of, and indeed my experience is that the numbers that we're told to expect never actually come to pass.
A njihov tačan broj i gdje oni idu i gdje će se zadržati ne znam, ali da budem iskren iz mog iskustva znam da ti brojevi nikad ne podudaraju se sa stvarnim brojem ljudi koji dođe.
Hvala lijepo, Srećko Nikitović.
Ja sam novinar Hrvatskog listu. Htio sam postaviti pitanje ljudi povratka prognanika njihova mjesta. Prema informacijama kojima raspolažemo, između hrvatskih islamskih snaga, znači prodjelano je oko 180,000 Hrvata, a i 33,000 postavljaju se pitanje, gdje će se vratiti Hrvati?
The question is where will the crowd return and where will the Muslims return? Since the Serbs are
I'm afraid I'm not going to answer that question.
Bojim se da neću odgovoriti na to pitanje.
I think you will understand fully when I say that it's a question that's much bigger than Britbat 1. It's a question actually for the Federation.
Mislim da ćete razumjeti ako kažem da je to pitanje jako veliko i da je to izvan moći britanskog bataljona da odradi, nego je to pitanje na kojem treba raditi federacija.
Brigadier Filipović and I have discussed at great length areas where we might start to try and resolve the problem.
Brigadir Filipović i ja smo naširoko razgovarali o područjima gdje bi mi mogli početi da rješavamo taj problem.
However, I feel that after many hours of discussion we both come to the opinion that in order to step forward we need a wider solution which has to come from the Federation government, and it is something really which we can only wait for at our level, or at my level anyway.
Međutim, i nakon dugosatnih razgovora mi smo zaključili da bismo mi krenuli sa nekim koracima u rješavanju problema na ovom području, moramo čekati na jedno šire rješenje koje treba da dođe sa nivoa federacije.
Već smo tu 60 minuta, mislim da je vrijeme da završimo konferenciju, ali na kraju dajemo priliku jednoj ženi u uniformi ovdje da postoji pitanje.
I'd like to greet you. I'm glad that you are here. I have to say, unfortunately, I have to be critical and criticize the UN. And 2 days ago, our soldiers were coming, passing a transporter border while passing. One of UN while passing, then one of the UN soldiers said, "Allahu Akbar," which is a Muslim man. And listen to that. That made our soldiers think that you are biased.
Well, I apologize for that. That is inexcusable.
Izvinjavam se zbog toga, stvarno nema nikakvog izgovora za to, odnosno nema objašnjenja.
I'll be very interested in knowing exactly what time it was and where it was, so that I can identify the soldiers concerned.
Ja volio da znam kad je to bilo i gdje, tako da bi mogao identifikovati vojnika koji je bio u pitanju.
I'm very keen to deal with complaints, but I can only do so if I'm given the exact time and place, so I can identify the soldiers concerned. I have over 1,000, and it's rather difficult to get hold of the exact one.
I ja nemam ništa protiv žalbi i da rješavam takve neke primjedbe ukoliko znam sve detalje, jer ja imam preko 1000 vojnika. Ako je to bio samo jedan od njih, moram znati koji je tačno bio.
Okay.
We have already sent a protest from our side to the liaison officer. So.
Good. The only other thing I would say is that many of my soldiers do not understand completely the ethnic backgrounds of both communities.
Još jedna stvar koju moram da dodam, mnogi moji vojnici ne razumiju etničku pozadinu ljudi, odnosno lokalnog stanovništva ovdje.
All right. Now, he may have been being deliberately offensive, but he may also just being stupid.
Tako da je on možda namjerno želio da to ispadne kao uvreda, a možda je bio samo glup.
Okay.
Pa nije znao.
And I apologize again.
Izvinjavam se još jednom.
Hvala potpukovniku Mekolu. Ja vam se zahvaljujem što je došao s našem pozivu. Nadam se da ćemo i dalje uspješno surađivati. I vidimo se na nekoj idućoj konferenciji ili zbornom području Vitez ili kod vas u britanskom bataljonu u Starom Vilu.
I'd like to thank Brigadier Filipović for inviting me here today and for allowing me to sit beside him and take part in the conference.
Htio bih se zahvaliti brigadiru Filipoviću što me pozvao danas na konferenciju, što mi je dozvolio da sjedim pored njega za ovom stolom.
A ja bih se zahvalio vama što niste mene puno mučili nego gospodina.